This is Shuit with a review of the movie Alita Battle Angel or Battle Angel Alita. The reason why I'm choosing to do this review with my camera still shaking is because I've grown up with this character. Rather, the first time I came in contact with this source material character, which was titled Gun M, and the lead character was Gali, not Alita. I fell in love with it immediately. For some reason, I could not read it because it was only available in Japanese and Chinese. Yet, it grabbed me, it captivated me, not in any sexual kind of way, although I was at that age when I was probably as horny as any teenager could be, which was intriguing. I found something about the character that just grabbed me and kept me intrigued about what happens next, although I didn't understand the details of what was going on. The pictures themselves spoke volumes. Again, not in any way sexualized, just the character, the heart and soul could be felt just through the pages of the comic books. And finally, it's been made into a movie, thankfully, under the trusty hands and eyes of Robert Rodriguez, who I respect tremendously. I read his book, Band Rebel Without a Crew. I covered every page from top to bottom, and it was simply a great source of inspiration. I remember still vividly until this day what he mentioned in his book. If you dream about becoming a filmmaker, don't say you want to become a filmmaker. Once you thought about it, you are already a filmmaker. Go make a business card and start work. Just very inspirational. Rodriguez has been experimenting with CG materials for the longest time. He worked on very kiddie, low-budget type-looking movies like Spy Kids, Lava Girl, and Shark Boy. The names themselves, you probably, if you've not heard about them, you will immediately think about direct-to-video type of movies. Well, he's experimented with them, and now he's mastered the craft of using CGI, saving budget, and making a great movie, especially action movies. His debut film was Il Mariachi, just about a guy who's got a lot of guns in his guitar case, goes around shooting people, a shot and a budget of a few $1,000s. Yeah, that's just how he is. He is passionate, innovative, and very budget friendly. James Cameron actually had the chance to make this film, but he was thankfully too fixated on his Avatar series. So I'm glad he did not get to have a hand in this particular franchise. It's the first movie and possibly could be a franchise. The book itself expands a few volumes. The first half is actually great, and the second half, which came out much later, don't really make sense. They had an OVA, or an original video animation, a 3-part series, or something that's long enough to be a 3-part series, and for some reason it got released at a very unusual time for Japanese anime, and it was just left alone. It barely managed to cover the first few volumes. The movie, thankfully, does a little bit of that, but it includes a lot of the exciting and fun and detailed elements that could lead up to some even greater payoff in a sequel, or rather, even this in the single movie itself, there's a lot of build-up and payoffs that makes it a good, worthy watch. It covers a great volume of the original source material, which I'm very grateful to Robert Rodriguez. He managed to make little tweaks that's a little different from the original source material, but they're for the better. It's pacier, it's more exciting, and whether it's characters being killed off that stayed alive in the original source material, or characters that's kept alive although they were killed, some of the fate that some characters suffer, they're all tweaked a little bit, but they're all really done very well. First of all, as I mentioned, if Michael Bay were to have gotten his hand in this movie, yeah, you guys seen what happened with the Bumblebee movie and how it's being showered with praise because of how un-Michael Bay it was. Yeah, think about that for this Alita Battle Angel as well. The action scenes are not clunky and all over the place with shaky cam, and it's one of the most awesome choreographed action CGI scenes you will ever get to see. Again, I mentioned that Robert Rodriguez got to experiment a lot over the past decade, and he's mastered the craft. The character CGI face, I was a little bit turned off by it, especially with the crazy big eyes. They could have just let the lead character play herself, but I understand where they're coming from. They want to pay as much homage to the original source material as possible, and it was a good touch because the main character, if the actress played herself, it would be seen as Hispanic or Mexican, and people would start talking about the previously we had whitewashing issues with Ghost in the Shell. That problem is completely eliminated with this movie, with the CGI character that does not look Mexican, white, nor Asian. So it's a nice neutral balance. Interestingly, the name Alita is different from the original source material, Gali, but there's a scene where they say Ali instead of Gali, so that was a nice little touch. And whether you knew the original material or not, you will see very many number of little subtle touches that just grabs you. One way or another, it'll move you. The character, again, is not in any way overtly sexualized. If you remember the fish out of water element that they had in the Wonder Woman movie, it's done as well, if not better, in this one. Alita is a piece of head with a heart still intact that's been discovered from the rubbles that's been thrown down from what's believed to be a utopia upstairs, a floating city. The people underneath it are living, scrimmaging, barely making by, and it's a bit of a post-apocalyptic world. But it turns out there's a lot more to her than meets the eye. But she goes into a journey of self-discovery, and along the way you join this adventure and you are completely consumed into it, especially with the heart and soul that's been imbued into this character. I love how this is a step away from what many criticize about strong female leads these days, just being powerful and with this indomitable spirit that likes to show men that they're better than them. So this is a nice little touch where there is a feminine element about her. At the same time, the additional feminine elements about her really shows men what they lack in terms of their quality, whether it's by nature or nurture. The lead character, Hugo, is given a lot more life and chunk than the actual comic book source material, because he's more or less the love interest. But in this movie, there's a lot more character to it. You can really relate to him. It's the polar opposite of where Alita is coming from. She is willing to give all she's got, whatever she does, whether it's relationship or doing something for someone or standing up for people who can defend themselves. Hugo has been through a lot, and he believes that nothing is for free, and no one is looking after anyone else except number one, themselves, and thus he is deeply concerned about Alita and her somewhat naive and innocent ways. But then Alita is no slouch in arguing back that she believes in her principles, and yeah, they feed off of each other nicely, and they grow nicely together. And overall, it's a great movie. What can I say about it? Christoph Waltz does a great job as well, of course. Just what Christoph Waltz does. Great casting, whether it's Michelle Ali or everyone else that's in the movie. I love how they try to stay true to the source material in terms of their looks, and they upgraded their characters and the depth of the characters significantly. Watch it. You'll love the action. You'll love the heart and soul within the main character, and all the action involved. And they did plan several sequels, but this in itself wraps itself up nicely. That's what's great about a movie, where they don't just plan about letting viewers know that, hey, we've got a sequel planned, enjoy this first, but yeah, save room for sequels. This one, like Alita says in the movie, it's all or nothing. She giving it everything without looking back. That's what the movie did. I do worry about the sequel because it did such a great bang-up job with this one.